according to FBI files, that Malachi Z York had some convictions and he's been sentenced to 135 years in prison for. And the Wu-Sabat in America was like a cult. But obviously, this is just wild, and I just wanted to know what the true story was.
There's a bloodline in Islam.
So watch this. Let me hear me out.
Oh, yeah.
There's no bloodline in Islam.
Yes,
it doesn't matter. The bloodline in Islam is irrelevant.
Each One Teach One, brought to you by OSM Vision. On today's episode.
Obviously, I've said what I've said, and I was saying what I was saying.
Yeah.
And then you've interjected and said that.
So
that's incorrect. But I'm saying, where did you get that information from? Now we've got to a place where you said you was taught that.
Yeah.
Who taught you that?
Right. No, but you're saying we're racists.
No, but bro,
there's racism in Islam.
I've experienced racism in Muslim countries.
I know,
right?
but they're
so,
wrong.
do you worship Dr Malachi Z York? Why would a picture of a
So
woman
now, when I was saying about how you're
hijab,
dressed, you said it wasn't about dressing. Now, when it suits you, you're saying she hasn't got on a hijab, so it is about dressing.
We don't have pictures in the Quran.
What do you mean you don't have pictures? Have you been to the Islamic world? When you say we, who's telling this one?
In
saying
Islam,
this
there's no
is
pictures in the Quran. You tell me what Quran has pictures in it?
Why do you think that is?
What I'm saying to you, yeah, because
it's not supposed to be.
Because it's against.
See, you keep saying this is not supposed to be, and we this and we that, and I'm saying to you that just because the Orthodox Sunni Muslim says you can't have pictures, you can't this and you can't that, and you accept it, doesn't mean that we.
Because you're innovators.
Because you innovate, you reject.
Can I finish what I'm saying? Right?
All right.
You know why they say that? You know the reason why they say that? Because they say you can't have pictures. Because they know that it's stolen from our ancestors, which is on the walls of ancient Egypt. And when you go to Egypt, because you said you've been to Egypt, yeah, you will find the prayers, the surahs, the hajj, everything that you have in Islam comes from ancient Egypt. There were two people at the same time referred to as Muhammad. There was a false Muhammad called Muslimat ibn Hanifa. You know the Quran today, yeah?
Right.
Even the order it's not the original order that it was revealed in.
Yeah, it was compiled.
If you look at this, right?
Yeah.
This is the Holy Quran. Okay.
Where's that
So
from?
we can come to that.
To the orders written.
But if you look at the order,
well.
one basically saying.
If you'd like to be part of a future video, email us at info@osmvision.co.uk.
You're asking me what Allah is made of. I can't tell you that.
Okay, but everything that exists is made of something.
Yeah, so but I can say as I know and what I have learned from Islam, Allah is referred to as the light. That doesn't mean that he's made of light. If he's made of light, then so be it. That's what
you
that's
can't
what
read
told.
the Quran and it calls him a lamp or a light.
Yeah.
Which is made up of something.
Yeah.
Light's made up of photons.
Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. I mean, light in like a spiritual context is also in regards to illumination as well. So it's not just physical light. It's a light, light is also like purity, illumination, enlightenment, all these sorts of things. We can't necessarily just comprehend Allah's light as human beings. So we can't just say, oh well, physically the protons and this in the light makes it like this and stuff like that. Doesn't work like that. So if Allah says he is the light, then this is outside of our comprehension, and we can only attribute it by things of which we know, which is, like I said, illumination. Physical light, yes, but none of us have seen, and we will only be able to see that if we are, fortunate to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So when you say he,
you're
trying to make him into a gender. So
but
how can Allah be a he or a she, as in Alat or the Alihat or the Alahuma, right? When you can't even tell me what it is. What is it?
Allah is referred to as the light. Yeah, that's what we are told. And linguistically, it's a reference. No, but
there are different forms of light.
Yeah, cool.
Right.
But the type of light that we can't, it's nothing to do with any light that we.
Where does it say that?
Though?
It doesn't say that.
Because this is a lamp.
It doesn't say that what you're saying now.
Well,
This is what I'm saying.
all right, cool.
If we're
So forget what I'm saying.
What we're going to start doing, instead of talking about the language, if we start actually reading the Quran word for word and breaking down what it actually says, then either you accept it or you don't accept it.
Okay, but my point.
Let's finish on the light point.
No.
It says he's the light of the heavens and the earth.
Yeah.
What is that?
The light of the heavens of the earth.
Yeah, but what is it?
The thing is, this is what you
know what it is?
This is what you got to understand, yeah?
Yeah.
This is what you understand. I was talking about deification.
Yeah. You said you can deify anything.
You can deify something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Allah is saying, do not deify these things. Do not worship anything. There is nothing worthy of worship but me.
Then he says in the same breath, I'm the light, which means you can deify light.
No, it doesn't.
Who said that? No, the Quran says Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth.
But you just said you made that up.
No, I didn't make. I just told this in the Quran.
No, you just said
let's
deify light.
One point. Yeah, because you said
who said that though?
Allah is the heaven.
Because Allah is the light, and you said Allah is the deity.
But if you're worshipping Allah, so there's different ways you worship Allah.
No, but let's not do that. Let's stick to one point. Yeah, if Allah says He's the light, that means you're worshipping the light.
No.
So
see how you lot switch things up. Like 1 minute it's okay to say Allah can be worshipped, and then He says Himself He's the light. And then we say you don't worship the light. But let me tell you what light we're talking about. We're talking about the sun.
So
let me explain.
So you're saying that His creation, Allah's creation, is Him? Then is that what you're saying?
You're saying that Him. You haven't identified or
Allah is.
What Allah is.
I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, but you're not letting me answer the
all right,
point.
cool.
I'm saying you're saying.
Let me tell you in the Quran. What it says in the Quran. Yeah. In
Give me the quote.
Surah al-Ikhlas. This is the one of the most simple surahs in the Quran. Yeah. Say, Qul huwa Allahu ahad. Say He is one.
Okay.
Yeah. Allahu Samad, the absolute. So He's the absolute.
It doesn't. Samad means what?
Allahu Samad.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
It doesn't?
Pulling it up right now.
Allahu Ahad.
Yeah.
Allahu Samad, He is alone.
Yeah, so
absolute.
It's not absolute. Alone and absolute are two different things.
Let him speak. Yes.
All right, I'm going to say something.
All right, let me just finish it because I'm saying a surah. Yeah, there's different translations. Yeah, you can say that He's the absolute. He has no beginning and no end. Lam yalid wa lam yulad. He neither begets nor was He begotten.
But you're calling Him a Him.
Wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad, and there is none equal to Him. Do you understand?
Right.
So
which we're going to debunk all of that.
So yeah, but I mean, do what you like. But I'm saying this is the essence. This so much so that this surah, it being 4 lines, makes up a third of the Quran because it's the essence of Tawheed. Yeah,
right.
It's the essence of Tawheed. Now, if you're saying you're going into you're then worshipping light and you're likening Allah to the sun, then you're going against what it says in
I'm saying if you accept that you're reading the Quran and the Quran is the words of Allah, then what it says you cannot go against. And if He says He's the light, you can't then say, oh, He's not the light.
I didn't say He's not the light.
Okay, so then I asked, what light are we talking about? And I was
but
just
you're
going
being literal.
You're not. See now I'm being literal.
So what light is it?
So what light is it?
yeah, so it kind of goes back to what the brother said, which is Surah Ikhlas. That is the Rosetta Stone for our approach to God. At the end of it, He says there's nothing like Him. And He's not like His creation, you can kind of get that from that. And so if you look at the actual verse in Surah Nur, it says Allah is the light of the worlds, and it alludes to the Prophet is a lamp. You can't just switch from a literal to a poetic and then back to literal. If He's the light and Muhammad is the lamp, He should be a lantern. But He's not. He's amplifying the light. And if you look at the motif in the Quran, light is often equated with guidance, because when you're in darkness, when you're in the shroud of darkness, you use the light from the stars to navigate. When it's daytime, so it's meant to be an allegory of guidance, because He's the source of guidance. But again, you have to look at the scholarly works. And it's not just interpretation. The Prophet, peace be upon him, he created a science called the tafsir, which is how to interpret the Quran. Otherwise, if you get any Tom, Dick, and Harry to interpret a translation of the Quran, then there'll be mistakes.
And I asked you what was Allah. You said you didn't know.
Yeah, because it's out of my comprehension.
Right.
It's out of my comprehension.
So if you don't know, then why do you turn it into a hymn?
Because
to make it a hymn,
it's linguistics.
See, now you're making excuses.
No, because
How's that an excuse?
Because
how is facts an excuse? Tell me that.
I'm saying, is he a hymn? See, when you do the study and the language, you start to realize that the names that you're using, like Allah, are going back to the deities of the Anunnaki. So when we say Elo, Allah, we're talking about Enlil and Enki, who are the sons of Anu, where you get Yahweh, Baal, all these different words. So a lot of Muslims don't realize that when they're saying Allah, they're referring to Anu. They're also referring to Enki and Enlil.
Linguistically, we are told that
By who?
Allah in the Quran.
Arabic.
No. I'm saying
Quran.
I'm not talking about the people that commentary on the people. Right. So if you read the Quran and it says he is the light. Yeah. Are you going to accept that he's the light? Right. So to be light means that
You have to emit photons or
but in the
rays.
what form of light are you?
In the next
and I was
verse,
trying to
it says the prophet
Please,
is the
finish.
lamp.
Let me
It's
finish.
good
And
that
he's not a lamp. He's a human being.
Because they're trying to explain light. Because I'm saying to you.
No, you're trying to explain light.
So you don't know what light is?
No, I didn't say I didn't know what light is.
So why is it that when I'm trying
isn't like that.
when I'm trying to explain the light and I ask you what light he was talking about,
I'm saying I
you say
don't
you
know
don't
because
know.
it's out of my
Okay,
comprehension.
so if you don't
It's
know,
out of my comprehension.
that's your comprehension.
But how can? But you just compared
but
Allah to the sun, so I know you don't know.
Okay, it says of the heavens, the light of the heavens,
Yeah.
The light that you see in the heavens is the sun.
So you're telling me, right? Let me just say, and then I'm gonna stop because the brother needs to talk. Yeah. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, the Lord of the worlds. You're telling me
That's what I'm saying. There's different translations.
Lord of the worlds, Lord of the worlds.
doesn't mean
Yeah?
that.
Lord of the worlds.
Ar-Rahman is what? That's what I was saying to you. That there's
The merciful. So
it's not.
the beneficent. Sorry, the beneficent.
See what I'm saying? Like,
The beneficent.
different people translate it differently.
The beneficent.
The beneficent, the merciful.
So no, Rahim is the merciful. But what I'm saying is, you're saying that
If you're reading it and following the words word for word.
Let me just say.
Go on.
You're saying that the light of the heavens is the sun when Allah has created different worlds. So the same sun that we can see that illuminates our day or reflects off of the moon or whatever, is a lamp for our sky. That doesn't mean it's the heaven. The heavens isn't the sky that we can see.
What's the word for heaven in Arabic?
Jannah.
No, that's
paradise.
Sky
as
is
in
sama.
Sky. Yeah, it's sama.
Sky is sama. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just
No, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
That was But the point I'm making is, if we ask you, what is it? You can't tell us.
What is what though?
What is
Allah.
Allah?
And then when we probe further and look in the Quran, what it's saying, when you make him a him and a he, because when you start going into the the actual grammar, he can't be a he.
Why?
Because that makes him less.
But in the
than
Arabic
himself.
language, the default is.
You see what I'm saying?
No,
you can't be
it's
less than his
In Spanish, you say the chair is a her.
But it's language
But
you're
it means
using to read the Quran.
But you need,
That's the whole point.
You need a
This whole
scholastic
point
knowledge
started-
of
How was it
Arabic.
supposed to be?
Please stop speaking at the same time
We'll
because
tell
it's
you
like
how.
it just makes it
We'll tell you
confusing.
how.
All right,
I'm
let's
saying,
let the brother talk. Let's let the
Yeah.
brother talk.
Remember, this
Sorry.
original
Sorry for
point
holding
is
it.
about language. Right? I'll hand over to
Okay,
her.
fair enough.
We have to go back to language. It's very important. And you talk about Arabic and we talk about Hebrew. Arabic is not even a language, it's a verb. The Arabic comes out of assuring. That's where it comes out. It's a dialect of the original Arabic would be called assuring. The original Hebrew would be called Aramic. Who is assuring is one of the or Ashur and Aram is one of the grandsons of Noah. So when you say that you said that your Imam said that Abraham spoke Arabic. He never spoke Arabic. You have to say that where was Abraham born? He's from Iraq of Chaldea, which is called Iraq. It would be Iraq or what they would call for as Mesopotamia. If you're going to say Arabic, then you would say you would have to refer to Ashur, because he was where he was. That region of land is also representative of Syria today, or it would be. So his language would have been not only Ugarit, that's one of his language, but it also would have been Ashuric. And I said earlier on that Arabic would have been a derivative or derived from Ashur. It would be Ashuric or Syriac. We say Hebrew, it would have been Arabic, from Aram, you see. So Arabic is not like one of the ancient languages. You follow? And okay, so let's go back to Arabic. There are many dialects of Arabic. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's dialects, of course,
many
that
dialects
people
of
speak.
Arabic.
Yeah.
Right.
Arabic.
Now,
Spoken Arabic, yeah.
Yeah. So when Muhammad, then when Malik Jibril, Prophet Jibril came to Muhammad.
Prophet Jibril.
Sorry, Malik Jibril.
Okay, yeah.
Malik, what's that?
The angel.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Angel.
Malik Jibril. Alayhi salam. Came to Muhammad. What's the first thing Malik Jibril said to Muhammad?
Iqra. Read.
What did Muhammad
recite.
What? You're right. It says read.
Recite. It's recite. So.
Stop.
Yeah.
One word can have two meanings.
Let's stop. Let's stop.
Yeah.
What's the word Qu'raan mean?
Recitation.
Doesn't mean that.
What's it mean again?
The recitation.
I thought, do you know? Can you speak Arabic?
Huh?
Can you read right Arabic?
Can I read Arabic?
Can you,
Yeah.
Okay. You and you yourself as well.
Yeah.
That ad, what does that mean in Arabic?
I don't know.
Okay,
It's one word.
The word.
Yeah,
What's the word for read in Arabic?
Read.
Yeah.
Qira'ah.
Qur'an.
So read
Qira'ah.
that. Now read that again.
It says
Now read that
Qur'an.
again.
Yeah.
The
Qira'ah.
and, so you're talking about an alif and a noon. What does that depict?
I don't know.
You don't know.
It's a
So,
jewel.
one word.
It's a jewel.
No, it's not.
It's a jewel. No,
It's
it's not.
recitation.
It's not.
I thought you guys said that.
So
you
what you're probably alluding to is Ani, right?
no.
I said read. Right.
Let's backtrack.
Let's just let him finish. Just let him finish.
Yeah, I didn't finish, sorry. Because we're asking a question.
Right.
That's why
In Arabic, you have singular, dual, and plural. Right or wrong?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. So the word to read will be Qur'an. Qur'an. When you add the alif and the noon, it becomes dual, doesn't it? Am I right or wrong?
In certain contexts, yeah.
Yeah, certain context.
What context does it not become a dual?
When it is a noun that already exists as it. So Quran is the noun, and if we said like Qur'anan, then that's two. But you're trying to say that the an instead is it? So it means recitations, right? Is that what?
No,
It means the reading.
No, I'm saying, why are you leading to that?
No,
It means the
Quran is
reading.
two.
What are you getting at?
Yeah.
This is what I'm alluding to. So the word Qur'an means the two readers. See, so the word Qara means to read. Somebody who's learned it, they will put Qari, wouldn't it? That's what the word they use. Qari, who learned it, who has committed the Quran to memory. Okay, so
No, that's a Hafiz. Hafiz, that's a protector, basically, of the Quran.
The Qari,
Qari is one who recites.
Recites
Yeah,
a nice
recites.
nice.
Recites, yeah.
So when Muhammad, when Malik Jibril came to him and said, Iqra, what was Muhammad's reply to that? Not so in the Quran, but according to Hadith, what was Muhammad's next reply? It's very important.
I can't read.
In Arabic, please.
Na biqari.
What's that?
It's like la something biqari. I
Ma'ana?
can't read.
Ma'ana biqari.
Yeah.
So yeah,
What does that translate as?
I can't read.
I can't read.
But you just said recite.
I can't recite.
You just said recite.
I can't read. Do you know what it is? See, because I'm so used to saying read and reciting this. I know the difference. I know the difference. I know the difference. Do you know what I mean?
That's the point.
I know the difference between read and recite.
Yeah, I can't recite.
Muhammad said, Malik Jibril said, Iqra. Muhammad said, Ma'ana biqariyan. And that is actually a poor translation. He actually said, I'm not of the readers.
Readers, yeah.
Then he said, Iqra again. So Iqra, what do you say after that? Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Read by the name of your
Lord who created.
That word is Rab. Iqra bismi rabbika.
Yeah.
Rab, Lord.
Your Lord.
Alladhi khalaq. who created.
Created, yeah.
So it not doesn't translate as Lord, it means sustainer. The word Rab means a sustainer.
Yeah.
Now what has happened is, all you may think, oh Lord, it doesn't mean that. This is where we say that when you have in a language, like in let's say Arabic in this case, the essence of what is being translated is lost in the translation. So when I say La ilaha illallah, you say there's no God but Allah. No, nothing would exist if Allah didn't create it. It doesn't say that in Arabic, no. But this is the essence of La ilaha illallah.
Yeah,
That's
it's Tawheed.
essence.
It's Tawheed.
That's
the essence of Tawheed.
So
Ilah does not mean God.
no, so what,
Ilah means deity.
Deity, God. It's a rough translation, but
what I'm saying to what we're trying to get across here is that
Let him finish his point.
Pandabadyanana, Dr. Malachi Z York, is a polyglot. He speaks multiple languages.
He's a god.
Polygot.
Okay.
Polyglot.
But he is a
It's a polygod.
He is a
Oh,
god.
you believe he's a deity?
We know
He is
he's
a
a
deity.
deity.
All right, let me.
No, let him finish. We'll come back to that.
Come back to me after.
Yeah,
Come back to me
make a note of it.
after. I'm not going to say nothing for now.
Yeah.
Come back to me
Right.
after. Yeah.
Yes, you're right. We refer to him as the deity. We do not ascribe as Muslims, as Sabians or Morocco, as Nawapians, our rendition of deity is not channeled into one individual. We acknowledge all of ye are deities or Allahs, because in the Quran you have, we said in Arabic, you have singular, dual, and plural. You also have feminine and masculine, correct? In the Arabic language, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So the feminine rendition of Allah will be.
Where is that though in the Quran? Where in the Quran is Allah made multiple or made feminine?
Okay, let me say this then. You have Allah.
No, I just asked you a question. Where in the Quran is it?
He's answering the question.
You have Alat, which is the feminine rendition.
That's not
of
in the
Allah.
Quran.
Lat is a false idol of the Arabs.
Yeah.
And
Which
Allah
Muhammad was actually worshipping
and
before.
came to preach the true message because they went astray.
Then you have the
Let him answer the
word
question.
Alihat, which is Allah in the plural. We meet earlier on. What does Alihat mean then?
So, Aliha is
Alihat.
Alihat is
Yeah.
not related to Allah. Allah's a pure form.
If you study the
Allah's
root
not-
of the language, you will see
You can't
that.
just morph the word Allah into anything else.
Yeah.
And just like in Aramaic, it's Allah. In Hebrew, it's Elo. In Arabic, it's Allah. And there is no Allahum, Allahim, Allah this.
You
and
also
that.
have Elohim in
Yeah, Elohim. Like Abraham became Abraham. The him or the ham is a sign of respect.
No, it's
so
not.
Elo,
No, it's not.
Elohim.
No, it's not.
So why did Abraham become Abraham? Like what's that?
We'll explain why.
Abraham says, what if you know what happens is that we are deviating and you add
Yeah, we're jumping from-
you're adding what's called conjecture, because once you got the facts are actual tangible things.
We have the facts.
Okay, facts are not
We believe that,
conjecture.
yeah.
Facts are not conjecture. It's not hearsay. It's not rumors. Nor is it belief.
100%. So where in the
100%.
Quran is Allah made multiple or feminine?
What I'm saying to you, what we're trying to get across is that Allah is what you will call a generative term for what people would say deity, or in English they would say God.
What does Allah mean?
Allah would mean the source. Allah, the source.
Allah.
From the word Elo.
Allah.
So we don't believe that it just means the source. Again, people say that the scholars say that it originates from Al-Ilah, which is the God or the deity. But we believe ultimately it's a pure term specific for Allah himself. And just like in Aramaic, there's Allah and Elo or Elohim in Hebrew, there's a common denominator here that Allah reveals to mankind that he wants to be called by Allah. And the translation of the source, Arabic scholars, even non-Muslim Arabic scholars wouldn't say that La means source, you know? So that's what we have to say about that one.
Yeah, because if you're saying everything comes from somewhere, that would be the source. And if you claim Allah was there first before everything was created, then it's coming from the source. But what we know that Allah is not the source, because Allah cannot be smaller than himself. If he's supposed to be the all-knowing and everywhere and he can do anything, Allah cannot be the light, because light comes from darkness. So you have to say, if it says, let there be light, where was Allah before there was light? Because light was created at a point, and it has a speed and it has a limitation of 186,270 feet per second, which means that no matter how fast it travels, it cannot escape the darkness. This ties into the racism in Islam with black and light skinned people, because they want to push a narrative and claim that light skin or the caramelized Muslims that you find in Egypt today, who are really supplanters, the desert Arabs, they're not the original Muslims, nor are they the original people. So they cannot teach the Africans that were there and predate them, all right, because they come by way of Ishmael, which we've already mentioned, because Abraham had an Egyptian wife and her name was Keturah, and it's through them two that they gave birth to Ishmael, and that Ishmael became what you're calling the desert Arabs today. And from them you get the different Europeans that came into Egypt and tried to claim to be Egypt. But the pictures on the wall, which they tried to hide from, shows you the lips, the nose, and the features of the original Egyptians. And that's why they don't want you to have pictures, because you can't hide it. That's why they try to chop off the noses of the beings in Egypt. And Amun, being one of those powerful deities, is why they say the word Amin at the end of their prayers. And the other Christians, they say Amen. And the Jews, so-called Jews, they say Omain, because it ties back to the fact that if you go to Revelation 3:14, it tells you that Amun is that deity. And everything in Islam has been copied or stolen from ancient Egypt.
It's come, oh, it's one, and Allah.
No,
Yeah.
Ilah is al-Ilah.
Yeah.
Ilah is deity. Linguistically, Allah actually means the deity, because it's al-Ilah. Allah has 99 names and attributes, of which, you know, the source is one of them, could be one of them, but it doesn't necessarily mean the source, and this is just facts. Al is the, so it's the deity. If I say to you, and this is not me drawing no comparison between me and Allah, of course, but if I walk in there and say, I'm the man, there's a big difference between me saying I'm a man. Because if I say I'm a man, you automatically can ascertain that there's other men. Do you understand? Yeah, from me saying I'm a man, because I'm one of men. If I say I'm the man, just even in like street slang, whatever, I'm saying I'm the guy. There's no one like me. Do you understand? But so linguistically, it's similar, because it can't be multiplied. It's the deity. There's no other deity.
I say if you deal with the roots of words, because words built up from. Sorry, go on.
Yeah.
Go on.
So Allah is not subjected to one being. There is like God is not. Oh, this is the God. There are many Allahs.
All right, who told you that?
I mean, there are many
That's conjecture.
No, this is what I was trying to just say. Just one quick point.
Because you didn't. Number one, no. Before you move on, I asked you where in the Quran is Allah multiplied or made feminine. You couldn't answer that. You came up with a lot of conjecture. Yeah.
What is? I can't give you the quotes off the top of my head pertaining to that.
Because there isn't any.
But what I'm saying to you is that when you go, you have to go to the language.
No, they're in the Quran. There's none in the Quran.
Hang on.
There is.
Show me, please.
I'm looking for it.
Right?
Yeah.
But you have to look at the language. I said always go back to language. So you're trying to tell me that by way of the Arabic language that you cannot make Allah into an alat? I'm talking about the language.
No.
You can't?
No.
Because the spelling is alif, lam, ha, not tamabuta.
No, I
You can't make
didn't say
a
that.
ha into a tamabuta.
I didn't say
It's
that.
Allah, not alat.
No, that's not a tamabuta. That is a ta.
It's not a where did you get the
I'm
ta
talking
from?
about-
You added
No,
the ta.
you don't
No,
have a ta.
I'm talking about-
I did the ta.
Allah's,
No.
it's
When you
it's
say
added.
Allah, and that is you translate, and that is from the Arabic,
Yeah.
you make it into a feminine form. you would get
How can you make it feminine?
Why would you make it feminine?
That's what I'm asking.
Where does it say that?
Anyway,
When you study language, yeah,
Yeah, go on.
language is built up in blocks, yeah? So you have to have like the alphabet first. Then you make words from the alphabet,
course,
yeah?
yeah.
So obviously you will take an A and an L to put together to make that
Alif,
word,
lam.
right? Yeah? Then if you then add the la, L-A-H, what's that then? What's that? In terms of,
No,
as you're
it's
adding,
not-
as you're adding the word. No, go on.
Listen,
So you can follow me when we get to a point, but then,
Bro, I'm actually directly addressing exactly what you're saying in this specific
okay, go
moment.
on.
You said this before. You said la. It's not la. It's al-ila. Yeah?
Okay.
When you join al-ila together, it's Allah. Because that's why they
So
have the
you're saying-
shadda. That's why they have the shadda, because there's two lambs.
Yes.
Do you understand? So it's not la. You're saying la. It's not la.
I'm
it's ila.
saying A-L.
Yeah, the.
Is that a word?
Yes.
Okay. A definite article.
Yeah.
Okay. And L-A-H is that a word?
No, you see, you're not listening.
Ila.
It is.
I said
It is a word.
Ila is
Okay,
the word.
what's-
It's not la.
I'm trying to show. Okay, let me do it for you this way.
Yeah.
Arabic comes from Hebrew.
No.
I'm gonna show you.
Go on.
In Hebrew, you have E-L. Yeah?
Yeah.
L.
And in Arabic, you have the A-L.
Okay.
Because you build the blocks, right?
Just similar. It's sister.
If I can
sister,
finish-
not sister language.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
Then when you go from EL, you add more letters, you get ELOH. Yeah? Which is what?
That's Elo, that's Hebrew.
Yeah, but what does it mean?
I don't know Hebrew.
I don't
but
know Hebrew.
It's the equivalent of Allah.
Okay, so
it's like God.
when I draw a line, think of a two columns. So you got EL there, you got AL on that side.
Yeah.
Now I've got ELOH, which predates the Arabic, and you have ALAH on this side. Yeah. Now, if I then add more letters to the LO or the ELOH, I add an EM at the end of that, which in the Hebrew is a Yod and a Meme. It becomes what?
Elohim.
Right. Which what's the difference between the one before and that one I just said?
Elo.
Yeah.
And him.
So what's the
I don't
difference?
know. I don't know.
Okay, but
Hebrew.
wait.
I don't know Hebrew.
I'm
I just know
trying to
what it
show
says.
you that
Yeah.
the equivalent between the two, because
But
when
you
you're
can't
saying,
draw a comparison because they're not the same language.
if you actually let me finish, yeah, because remember we were saying when you're dealing with Arabic and Hebrew and going to Abraham and dealing with Ishmael and Ismail, you can see that those two come from a root that they spoke. That's why I'm giving you the two columns. So on this side, that Elo becomes Allah on this side. You can dispute that or not. And then when you go to the Elohim, right, where you added the E and the M, on the other side, you can add, as we said before, the Al-Hat or
But you're
the Ummah.
creating that though.
No, it's
You're
language. I'm
adding-
showing you the structure of
No,
language
but you're
in
adding-
terms of linguistics.
So hold on. Sorry, brother.
Let me finish, please, because I've got a point to land.
No, but it's the reason because you're.
No, I'm saying if you're studying the
adding it.
linguistics, of the two languages, the two tongues, Ashuric Arabic, and Aramic Hebrew are two dialects of the same language, which we are trying to show you that when you start to compare them, but
They're two languages. They're not dialects.
They
They're
are
two
dialects.
No, because dialect. So I tell you
What's
that in
a
the instance of two
dialect?
different. I tell you, a dialect is I speak
South
like
London
London dialect.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
No,
I think
that's an accent.
That's an accent.
No,
No,
it's not.
Yes, it
It's a
is.
dialect. It's a
Yes, it is.
dialect. It's a dialect.
A dialect of
It's
what?
So if I speak, so we have British, yeah? We have English. Let's say we have English, right? You have Queen Standard English, which is what I'm speaking now, right?
You say.
I say whatever. Whoever said, you can disagree, fine. But I'm using words from the Queen Standard English, yeah? This is what I'm using when I'm speaking, right? You can understand. Anyone from England who speaks my language can understand. My heritage is from Jamaica. The dialect that they speak in Jamaica is English, but it's a different dialect of English because they speak in a different
that's
dialect.
colloquial.
It's
That's
not a
colloquial.
different
That's not
accent.
dialect.
You're
A
talking
different
about
accent.
patois. What
That's
are you talking
patois.
about when
It's
you
a-
say that?
Yeah, patois is a dialect.
It's not a dialect. That's
It's a dialect.
No, that's not dialect.
So you're saying the difference between an accent and a dialect. I can speak this
We're
language.
going off
Hear me out, hear me out,
We're
hear me out.
going off
Let me
tangent
just
from
finish.
where I'm going
But you
with the
just asked the
language.
question though. So I lived in Leeds for 3 years, yeah? they have a different accent to me. That's
what I
accent.
said.
That's
You're both
accent.
speaking the same
But they
what?
speak
What are you
Yeah.
speaking?
We're speaking the same language.
No, English is no language. This one, let me explain it to you.
You're saying English is
I'm
the
going to
language.
explain
now.
it to you. Yeah. But let me explain. It's a dialect. Because a dialect is composed of languages. Because English is made up of Yiddish, German, is made up of French, is made up of different languages.
That's a language, though.
No, it's not. Because it's not the original. It's not the root.
Indo-European.
It's a language now.
Yeah.
It's a language now.
because-
it's made up. It formed over the years, but it's a language
it's
now.
not. Just because you say it is.
So you're saying it's not a language?
No, it's not.
So what are you speaking now then?
I'm speaking a dialect, and I'm trying to explain this to you that over time, people have been taught and they believe it's a language. But when you start saying a language, we have a language called Misbatia. It has its everything. It doesn't need to borrow from other languages to make it up. That's a language, because when you then take that and add other bits, or it goes off to different branches, that becomes a dialect.
Can you not speak to each other in that language?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And where did the language? How did you learn the language?
We're going on tangent again.
We'll come back to that.
Because I explained in the introduction that it comes from the star or the Sabat. Yeah, we were trying to explain that, but we haven't even had a chance to go there because we're stuck on the Quran and the language of the Quran. And we've already established, and you can just Google this, that the Quran and the Arabic is not the original first language on the planet. So therefore, it's coming from something. And we explain that you're dealing with a Shuric, Syretic Arabic, and you're dealing with, on the other side, the Aramaic, because languages are named after people. Every language that you're speaking today goes back to a person, and that person has a family, and their family spoke a language. That's why I was trying to say to you that Abraham has a family and people, and they were speaking a language which was Chaldean before they came into the Arabic. And Abraham's son, the two, Ishmael, as you know, because the Arabs, the original Arabs would be the descendants of Ishmael. So when we're dealing with language, what we're trying to explain to people is that, as I said, when the Prophet Muhammad was poisoned because there was a conspiracy, you had a person called Warqa, who, I didn't even finish that point originally when I was talking about the two Muhammads, because that Muslimat actually came to Muhammad, the real one, who was born, I think, 570 AD, and said, let's come together. And because he refused, the original Muhammad, who's referred to as the Comforter in the Bible and so forth, because that's what Jesus was saying, I would go and I will send the Comforter. All right, so they then got rid of him and they conspired, got rid of the original family of Ali, changed the language, put a new Quran together, and this is where all the confusion has come in today, because people don't know the history and the stories that I'm trying to say. So when you're speaking and saying that, oh, the Quran, it's got one Arabic, and in this here, let me just show you quickly. You can see that, So these are different scripts. This is an Arabian script. This is the Kufic. That's the Hebrew and Persian, and we can keep going on and on. So that's why when you read that first page where you show here, what the master is doing is showing you the different scripts of Arabic.
Scripts.
Yes, because, but a script, that's why we're saying to you that
the same as what's recited, though. The script can be different, but the recipe can be the
but
same.
what I'm saying to you there, like each script would be in its original form before people start to change it and tamper with it and make it into something else. So we said to you that the hieroglyphics, for example, which is a script, you can go to Egypt and read it on the walls today. You can go to Sumer or Sumeria today and read the cuneiform, where the monotheistic religions, when you said Allah the Most High, when you say on high, you're really dealing with the deity Anu, because this is how these stories came from. You may not accept it now, but when you're saying, but what I'm saying is, when you do the research going backwards to who was here first and who spoke what and what language was that and
who did they worship
and who did they worship and what did they write, you're going to find that even the Christians have the Dead Sea Scrolls now, which is more authentic. At least they can say, here is something that goes back before what you're holding in your hand today, the King James Version, if you do the research of where that came from, you find out that it's so far away from the original, what the original authentic thing is. The same we're saying to you with the Quran. We're not having a go at you guys personally.
No, I know.
We're saying that do the research and you start to see. And why I was showing you this in the other book,
We're saying
last point, my last point.
Yeah,
But we're showing you with evidence, and you can go and research
Like
it.
you're just showing me with script in a book that was written
Yeah,
by.
but I'm saying
your
when
guy.
you write a
By
book,
your guy, yeah.
no, listen, when you write a book, you put your name on it as an author, right? Because you're the authority on that information.
Okay.
And
You may be
anyone
wrong.
Who gave him authority to write that?
who gave the people that put the Quran together?
No.
authority?
Answer me. With what?
Yeah,
Because it
but
feels like you're getting a bit defensive.
No,
yeah?
no, I'm not getting defensive.
So-
I'm trying
so-
to show
okay,
you
if
that
you
in the
can answer
same
the
way.
question. No,
Did you
just ask
question
the
that
Good
when you
question.
picked up the
Yeah.
Quran?
Yeah, so the same way you're asking me that question.
Yeah, but answer the question if it's a simple.
Okay, shall I tell you?
Yeah. Who gave him the authority to write a
He's
Quran?
Linguistic
Okay.
abilities.
The ancestors, the highest beings known as the Panatharu, you might not even know what that means right now, but the same person you're referring to, that we're referring to, is in your Quran. He's known as what? Al-Khidir, the green one, So he's been prophesied to come and to write and to do these things. So that's down for you to find out who he
Al-Khidir
is.
is.
I know, but
It's just like you saying the Mahdi,
looking at-
You know
yeah,
who the
no.
Mahdi is? Do you know who the Mahdi
We
is?
don't know who the Mahdi is, but we know he's a future entity that will
No,
come.
he's not.
He's
See, this is what I'm
gone.
trying to say. He's been here already. He's directly. I'm trying to answer the question. He's directly. He's directly related to the Mahdi of Sudan. Who?
According to his name
Well,
and his birth
when you
record.
look at
So if I
the.
name my son,
No, his birth record.
You see, they don't let me finish the point.
sorry,
What
yeah.
I'm saying
It's
is,
just-
he's
there's a lot of points
directly
here, yeah.
related to the original Muhammad. The original one, not the fake one. Because I was trying to show. In fact, let me show you the pictures of the two of them, so you
Because
can.
you lot are not allowed to see pictures.
Where did these
Wait,
pictures come from?
wait.
Show
No,
you
look.
pictures.
No, where did they come from?
You can go and research this.
No, where did the pictures come from?
I'm saying to you, historically, right? Can you catch it? You can do, like you say, you don't just rely on the word, you rely on experience, you rely on evidence, So I wouldn't be sitting here making this up.
Where's the
because
evidence? It's just a book.
I'm saying, you're not listening again. If I make a statement or make a claim, and I document it and I put it in the book for the whole world to look at,
You have to go and
you're
find
gonna
something to refute.
you're gonna have to say, okay, you're wrong. Let me go and check it out.
It has to be peer reviewed, yeah.
Right. You can Google him right now. Right. This is his name, Ibn Habib al-Hanifa. He lived from 558 to 633 AD. And that's why I brought some of these books, because even though we're talking to you, the whole world is listening, and they can get these scrolls and research them and read them.
Can
for
I ask you a
themselves.
question, please?
Absolutely.
So, I've actually read the Mystical and Magical Parts of Self and Not Self, Volume 1 and 2, which I'm sure you're acquainted
Author?
with,
Yeah, I know who that is.
I can't remember the author, but
Paul Simons.
Paul Simons, So I read both books, green and the pink one, because
I got to address the pictures as well when you finish.
no, that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
So I've gone down this rabbit hole. When I first took my Shahada, I had a friend from Sierra Leone, and he said to me, "Oh, you're Muslim," because he saw me with the cap, and he said, "Oh, you know, there's some inconsistencies in the Quran." And I said, "Really?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm going to give you this. Have you heard of Dr Malachi Z York?" I said, "Oh, no." And he said, "Oh, I'm going to give you this video." So he gave me a VHS. I took it, sat down and watched it and whatnot. So
Do you remember the title
The
of
things. No, I can't remember. But these concepts and these pictures that you're showing me,
concept.
it's not. To me, it's a concept. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a lot to us.
The concepts. I'm gonna get onto that as well.
Yeah.
The concepts and the pictures that you're showing me are not like foreign to me. I've seen it. Do you know what I mean? And I've gone into this, right? My question is, I looked at a few of your videos and stuff like that, and I think
Our
what
videos
you
or
said.
Dr. York?
No, yours.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm aware that Dr. York was. He said he was an imam. He was a rabbi.
He said
Wait. What is an imam?
An imam is someone of knowledge, a leader in Islam.
It means up front. That's all an imam is.
Yeah,
That's all it means.
so
So when you
it's that
are
leader.
up front and you lead prayers,
Yeah, a leader.
you're referred to as an imam.
Leader, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's
So I'm
besides the
saying
point.
he
That's
was.
besides the
He
point.
was.
That's the
So
besides
it's
the
not
point.
like. Yeah, go on.
He said he was an imam.
No, I'm not saying he said he was.
He's
because-
got the word.
No, you're saying that.
Have you seen the videos?
Just let me say it, because
Okay, go
you're getting offended by it.
No.
No, because what it is, I'm correcting the
correcting
fact
you.
that when you say...
No, let me say it the way I'm saying it,
Okay.
because I can say it.
Go
You know
on,
what I mean?
okay. Yeah,
And it's the truth.
Okay.
He said it. Who else said it? He said he was an imam.
Loads of people
He
said
said he was a... All right, but firstly, he said it, yeah?
He didn't actually say it, but
So,
it's fine. Let me let you finish.
cool, all right.
Yeah.
Whether or
Other
not
people made him that.
because this is the thing. The reason why I'm saying he said, because I don't know if he was or not.
Right.
Yeah. So I'll say apparently he was an imam.
Okay.
Apparently he was a rabbi. Apparently he was a shaman. Apparently he was a Red Indian mystic.
It was never already in there.
Native American.
A Native American, whatever it's called. You know what I'm talking about.
We have to give
No,
the
correct.
Apparently,
Correct. We're
okay,
about
thank
correction.
you, thank you.
We know where you got that.
Apparently, he was like a someone of a high order in Freemasonry. Yeah,
Go on,
and
carry on.
apparently he was some of a high order in Egyptology.
Can I just say something?
In Egyptology as well.
It's not was, he's still alive.
He is, yeah.
He is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's all those things in one, yeah.
Yep, but go on.
Okay, sorry,
You haven't asked the question though.
sorry.
Question.
So,
But you're right in the
So
sense
he's-
when you're saying was in the time period when we were going through
Okay.
your schools.
So-
But
so-
he is still here.
in regards to him being here, right?
Yeah.
But did he start as an imam, yeah?
No, he's
What do you mean start? There's a child
So
who's born into the...
his journey of
journey-
leadership and seeking knowledge.
No,
yeah,
not seeking.
not seeking knowledge, attaining a high level in a.
Do you know what? Can you just ask the question, please?
Yeah, what's your question?
What's the actual question?
I'm trying to get to the point.
All right, we're gonna shut on the
So
YouTube.
thank you. So he's got to all of these levels, yeah. But he was an imam, yeah. As far as I'm aware, I've seen some of your videos as well. You said you were a Muslim, right?
It depends when I say word, let me correct what I'm saying. We went through a school of Islam. During that time, we were Muslims. But I'm also still a Muslim.
But the sense of the word. Sorry.
Yes, all right.
Just have to-
That's all right. I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, so that's why we try to explain the language and the words. When I said mu, yeah, salam. What's the fifth attribute of Allah?
The fifth attribute.
Yeah.
What the fifth name?
Yeah, what you call the
Attribute,
99
yeah, the
names.
names.
But what's the
I
fifth?
don't know. I don't know.
Salam.
Okay,
Yeah, which means what?
The owner of peace.
Right. So the word mu salam relates to that fifth attribute as a salam, which means the peace. Yeah. What happened with that whole situation I was explaining about Muslimat and the real Muhammad is they changed it from being mu salam, ones who are of peace, because remember Jesus even said what? Blessed are the peacemakers because they shall be the children of God. So that when you translate that into Arabic, this is why when you greet each other, you say what? Assalamu alaikum. Even though people say assalamu alaikum, when you break the word down, you're saying assalamu alaikum,
Peace be unto you.
peace be unto you.
Yeah.
So it's a peaceful way of life that has been distorted and corrupted to the point where now people are distorting what that peaceful way of life is. And so when we say that he's directly a descendant of the real Muhammad, yeah, by way of the Mahdi, yeah.
Who is?
Dr.
Malachi Z
York.
So you're saying he's
By family line and bloodline, like, can be proven, yeah.
Okay.
He's literally a descendant of the Mahdi. The Mahdi, what, 1845? 100 years later, which is 1945, he was born as the reformer, known as what in Arabic? What's a reformer?
I don't know.
Go on.
Al-Mujaddid.
Al-Mujaddid.
Okay.
Right. So his whole purpose was to come and reform and set the record straight, because he's a direct descendant of the family who committed the original Quran to mine before they were unalive, chased and pushed away for Muslimat being that poet and the new Quran that's come out now. And then you got many versions of Qurans today that are not telling you the actual facts. And that's why
So
we
you're
say
saying that Muhammad,
yeah, the original
peace be
Muhammad,
upon him,
yeah.
as is known today, was a poet.
No, Muslimat was.
Okay, so
That's
you're-
a fake Muhammad.
So who are you saying is the one that people follow today?
It depends on who you are. That's what I'm saying. In the
Okay.
world today, people don't remember or know this historical fact.
Okay.
So they just think there's only one Muhammad. Just like people say they follow Jesus and they will have 1 million denominations. And even within Islam, if we go there, like you say, you have Shiite, Ahmadiyya, Nation of Islam, Ansarullah, and they
But that's all falsehood.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But each one of them are going to claim that the other one is false.
But we know because we are told that only one Jamaat will enter Jannah.
Right.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, back to my point.
Yeah. You asked me who he was.
You said
Yeah.
you were a Muslim, right? And now
As
you're
in,
saying
when
that
we
you
were
are
going
still a
through
Muslim.
the school of Islam.
School of Islam.
We
okay.
studied Islam, yeah.
And you said that too.
We practice the
right?
rituals.
You practice Islam.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't see you say that as well. Were you Muslim as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jannah Sallallahu. Yeah.
Okay. My question is,
Yeah.
how did you take your Shahada?
We had
And what did it look like?
Well, you want us to go through the whole details?
Yeah, of course. Because I want to know if you're a Muslim or not.
Yeah, well, I was very fortunate to be amongst the Ansarullah community, and yeah, we bear witness. We said in Arabic, "Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah." We bear witness that nothing would exist if Allah didn't create it. "Ashhadu anna kulli rasul rasulullah." We bear witness that all the Rasuls, all the messengers of Allah are from Allah. "Ashhadu anna kulli rasul rasulullah." We make no distinction between any of the prophets. We don't elevate one prophet above another. And Muslims would say, "Oh well, because you didn't you didn't mention Muhammad's name." No, we during that time he was in the school of Islam, Ansarullah. The master said that we do not ascribe nor subscribe to Sunni Islam. Now, if anything, we aligned ourselves with the Ansarul Mahdi, those of the Sudan.
Just what I'm saying, we're not Muslims by your
practice,
standard.
yeah.
So you
say
weren't
so
Muslim then?
Because you say so. I can say you're not Muslim.
How?
Same way you're saying I'm not Muslim.
No,
'Cause I don't
that sounds like tit for tat.
No, but
I
I'm
can
saying,
say,
all right, let me ask you a question. If you're Muslim,
By those way
why are
you
you
dress.
dressed the way you are?
Because Muslim isn't defined by your appearance or your dress. It's defined by your character, your actions, and your adherence.
there you
Right.
go.
So,
So then-
so therefore, you don't know my character and my actions and all the stuff you just said.
No, I
so
know.
you can't say
but
I'm not.
No, I don't. This is what I'm
So
asking.
why
but
did you ask? How did we take our Shahada?
because I want to
Does
know
it
if you're
matter?
Muslim. Yes, of course
How
it
does it
does.
matter?
Because you said you're Muslim.
Yeah, but at the
then
same
it's time.
time, you don't. When we flip it on you,
Yeah.
and I ask you what makes you a Muslim.
Yeah.
If you actually, have you ever watched any videos of us when we were Muslim?
No, that's what I'm trying to
Alright,
understand. I'm
Google it on YouTube, right?
Yeah, but I ain't got time for that. I just want to
No,
know.
but not just for you though. It's for the audience. Remember,
afterwards I'll
Yeah,
do that.
yeah.
But
What I'm saying is,
understand
so,
now.
okay, so
is
when we were practicing
how
the
you took your Shahada. I took my Shahada. I was searching for the truth, and I prayed for guidance to the right path. And somebody from my area who was Somali, he gave me dawah, basically told me about the religion. At the time, I was not interested in Islam at all, and because I'd seen bad examples of Muslims, but he was a good example for me to see, and I trusted him, so he told me about it. He debunked a few of the concerns and the questions I had about Christianity and about Jesus and about the prophets and stuff like that. So it made me want to know more. Then he took me to Lewisham Masjid. I took my Shahada on a Friday on Jummah.
The way I took my Shahada, so when you're born a Muslim, you often you get taken through the various rituals and ceremonies, and then you're kind of communicated into the faith in that way. My parents are Muslims and I was born a Muslim. Usually to take a Shahada, you do need witnesses, you do need a learned person, and you need to recite a certain verbatim word. Otherwise, we would see that as an innovation. But again, there's scholarly resources out there and it can embolden what I've said.
I'm trying to tell you that if you go and research the time we were going through Islam, the school of Islam, we were the best Muslims there ever was. Yeah?
The best
Let me finish. I'm trying to answer the question. Because you know why? According to the Quran, in fact, I can give you quotes. Let me give you some
What the
quotes.
brother saying?
Can you just answer how you took your Shahada,
Let me
please?
answer the brother. Let me answer
You're the best Muslims of all time.
No, I didn't say of all
We
time.
took our Shahada.
Were you all in the same school?
Two.
Yeah,
And you took your
Different
same
schools.
Shahada
Yeah,
at the
but
same
we came
time?
at
No,
different times.
So did you take your Shahada at different times, yeah?
Yeah, because we came.
Did you take them in different ways?
No.
No.
Okay, so we'll go through each of you, inshallah. How did you take your Shahada?
Right. We had the Imam at the time, right? Remember, we was under the school of Islam, Ansarullah. That's what we were called.
Ansarullah.
Ansarullah, because it's mentioned in the Quran.
Okay, and where was this?
Okay, this at the time.
Let me give him the quotes. Quran 352, yeah, 61:14. That talks and mention Ansarullah.
Yeah, but that's fine.
Yeah.
That's
I'm saying
fine,
you
that's
want to
fine.
go and check it out in the
But-
Quran,
no,
so
but
we're
that's
giving you the
fine,
quotes.
brother.
Let him
Do
carry
you know
on.
what it is? You see the fact that you're not directly, because I like the fact that you guys, you like to come with facts. You prefer to come with facts. You prefer to be direct, but I feel like you're not being direct right now. Yeah.
I'm asking,
So
He's
I'm
answering the
asking you a
question.
direct question,
Yeah.
and you're telling me, "Oh, we were the best Muslims."
All right,
at the
let me
time.
ask
But
you
I'm
something.
saying,
The
how do you take
Shiite
your?
and
So you're asking me questions.
no, but what I'm trying to show you, he's saying like, yeah, the way we took our Shahada was like this.
Yeah. So you
different
would
sects
compare
of
it.
different sects of Muslims take Shahada.
All right,
Slightly
what sect
differently,
was
yeah.
you then?
We weren't a sect.
We were
That's
the
what I
Ansar.
showed
So
you.
you weren't a sect.
We were known as
The
my brother's going to
Aiders.
continue to tell you the Ansar Allah.
Ansarullah.
Yeah,
Okay.
carry on, Imam.
all right. So now we never had a full masjid at the time, so we was in like a little apartment. So we took our Shahada, and you want to know what we said? We said, "Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna kulli rasulullah." We acknowledge that all the Rasuls are Rasul of Allah. You see, that's what we said.
So you didn't say Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah.
No.
We acknowledge.
So all
So
the
you didn't.
prophets-
So you didn't.
That's what I was saying to
testify.
you. You see, you
didn't
just said there. No,
testify.
this is really important.
You didn't testify.
That's what I mean
Hold
about
on,
the
hold on.
change when they did that to bring Muhammad into
So
the
you
worship.
didn't. You
We
didn't testify. You
No,
didn't
we
testify.
who just said?
You didn't testify that that Muhammad is the slave and messenger of Allah.
No, what it is?
Listen to what he said again.
Okay, no, we never, because we
Okay.
said Ashhadu an la kulli Rasulullah. We and we're not
You,
saying
yeah,
we're not,
you testify that every
all,
Rasul,
exactly.
yeah. All right, cool,
Exactly.
cool.
'Cause we're
But
not
you
slaves.
but you didn't testify that Muhammad,
Because
peace
we
be
don't
upon
know.
him, was the slave and messenger of Allah.
Well, ultimately, who is and isn't a Muslim is ultimately due to Allah. If a Muslim is drinking, smoking, doing things that we're told not to do, we can't say the guy's a kafir because we don't know what's in his heart. But there are a few things that can excommunicate you from Islam, which is if you say I'm a Muslim but I worship Lat and Uzza and Manat or false deities, we have to say that you're not a Muslim. If you know what's right and you do the wrong thing, it's different. But when you make the right thing into a wrong thing and you innovate, that can take you outside of the folds of Islam. So this is not enough for me to judge if the Wu-Sabat brothers were Muslims or not in a 3 or 4 hour conversation. And frankly, I'd like to leave this to the scholars to decide.
Right?
He's not the only one.
Huh?
He wasn't the only
All
one.
right, so watch this now. He wasn't, because he told us about the other Nabis. Yeah?
Is
And
Jesus
the
a
other
Nabi? Is
messengers.
Jesus a Nabi?
Nabi's prophet, right? Yes, he was.
prophet.
Yeah,
Okay, so-
Jesus was.
Is Jesus a
Muhammad
Rasul?
was a messenger.
We're getting sidetracked here.
No, we're not,
No,
because
it's
you
all
just
adds
said
up.
about
We don't differentiate.
we don't differentiate between Muhammad and Jesus and Moses and
Yeah.
all of them.
So hear this, yeah?
Yeah.
We accept, because this
Who's
is
we, please?
as Muslims,
there's
as a
different
Muslim.
Muslims.
All right, let me get.
There's different Muslims.
Me as a Muslim, forget
As a
them.
Sunni Muslim.
Me as a Muslim.
As a Sunni Muslim.
I don't ascribe to Sunni or Shia. Just
Yeah,
say I'm
but
a
if you don't,
Muslim.
if you don't
I
all
say I'm a
agree on
Muslim.
the same thing, then we have to know which one you're referring to, because your version of things are going to be different to
All
the
right, so
other
watch
one.
this now. So watch
Yeah.
this now. This is why I'm asking you how you took your Shahada.
Right.
Yeah. You've told me that you testified that there is no deity worthy of worship but Allah, but you didn't testify that Muhammad is the
Only
messenger,
messenger.
the messenger and slave of Allah. Yeah.
We didn't
Now-
say,
We said that
Yeah.
all of them are.
yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying the key point here is you didn't testify that Muhammad is the final.
When you say testify, you mean because we didn't say it?
Nobody,
Yeah, 'cause you
no
did-
one
you
in
did say it. You
Islam
didn't say it.
no one
So watch this. So
say, oh, Muhammad is Khatam Anbiya in the Shahada, correct?
No one says that.
what do you mean?
that
No,
was
we say-
added.
In the
no, wait.
You do have to mention.
No,
You
have to say
Muhammad, though,
Ashhadu anna Muhammad
Does it mean
Rasulullah.
that
No, that's
we
one.
together?
No, listen. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. The sentence stops there,
Yeah.
and then you
Then it's
added Rasulullah, Muhammad,
Yeah.
and all that afterwards. It wasn't that originally. This is what I'm saying.
How?
Because that's what I'm trying to tell you.
So
I'm
watch
trying
this
to
now.
tell
So
you.
this is how I know.
What I'm
This is how
saying
I
is,
know. Can I just say
based
something?
on what I said to you, how when it was compiled and put together, and
What
the
was compiled and put together?
Quran and
Yeah.
the conspirators that gave you this new version.
Where did you get this info? Because my thing is, right? Islam predates
Go on.
the school of thought or the masjid or wherever you lot took your shahada.
No, it
Yeah?
didn't though. But you're saying
So
date.
you're
Give me a
saying-
date
so-
then. What date are you talking about?
So, all right. Put it this
That's
way.
why
Yeah? I know.
said to you
this is
that
what I'm trying to understand.
Islam's only 1400 years old.
Yeah, but when did you take your shahada?
Carry on. The point I want to hear.
Yeah. So the reason why I asked you about your shahada is that I wanted to know your foundation of Islam.
Okay, let me explain
your
something to you right
foundation
now.
of Islam.
Yeah?
No.
We're not Muslims anymore.
Oh, you're not Muslim.
No.
Yeah, we never said.
But I'm saying,
we went through the schools.
I'm
Yeah.
saying you never were Muslim.
Again, go and research and do your studies. You know, we don't just make claims. We always say, don't believe us, check it out. So when you go into the school of Islam that we've studied, known as the Ansar Allah community, okay, we build masjid from the ground up. Some of us, I came in under the Nubian Islamic Hebrews and I took my Shahada, okay? And I learned certain things, the precepts and concepts of Islam. Many of the books that you see on the table today goes into the Quran, goes into you doing your comparative research, etc. This is what we urge people is do your comparative research, learn the language, and then you get a more thorough understanding. So while we're in the school of Islam, we practice these things. Many elders have been before me, and some of the student teachers did live it and actually practice it on a daily basis for many, many years before we transition out of it.
That's your. You can make that claim if you
No,
want.
it's not.
Wait.
It's not even my opinion. It's
No,
not my
that's your
opinion because
opinion.
you've just told
You
me.
can't define
You
what
just
makes a
told-
person a Muslim.
Yeah.
I can say
Allah
the
can.
yeah, but I can say the fundamentals.
Okay, you know
of
what?
All right, cool. Let me ask you then.
No.
Let me
You
ask
keep doing that. Let's deal with one thing
because-
at a time. And I'm
this
saying
is-
to you,
I'm on
we
the subject.
are not
I'm on the
today
subject. Cool.
Muslims.
What's the 5 pillars of Islam?
That's basic, man. Like,
Tell me.
But
No, tell me
Salah.
then. Okay.
Obviously, you said go on. You said Tawheed already. Tawheed.
Okay, sorry, so
Tawheed is not
the
a pillar
first
of
pillar-
Islam.
Tawheed's not a pillar of
It is.
Islam.
It's the first one. That's what I'm trying to
It's
say
not-
to you.
no,
You have to accept
no.
and confirm that
Yeah.
Allah is who Allah is before you go on to the other
You have to
ones.
know the 5
Shahada.
pillars.
Shahada. But I'm saying
I didn't do them in order, but I'm saying it's one of them.
Tell him the 5 pillars, please.
Shahada, right?
Shahada.
Salah,
Yeah.
zakat,
Right.
right?
Giving.
Hajj,
Yeah.
yeah.
Fasting in
So,
the Ramadan.
Right.
fasting.
So
There's
by
no
that,
Tawheed there.
by
those
that,
five-
you're not a Muslim then completely. Then
How?
have you done your Hajj?
Doesn't mean that I'm not a Muslim.
here we
It
go.
means it
See,
means-
here we
You see how you change? He says, what makes you a Muslim? Five pillars.
You're twisting it.
A Hajj
Don't you
makes
got to
you.
afford to go Hajj, then you're still a Muslim, just a poor man.
I know, but
So you
I
said-
didn't
so
I didn't
that
say
means
if you
most
actually
people are
watch this
Muslim
back,
according
yeah.
to you.
I'm careful what I
Twisting
say. When you rewind it, I didn't
thought
say you
Tawheed
weren't
was
a
a
Muslim.
pillar of Islam.
I said you were
maybe
not
you
yet
never were.
fully a Muslim.
No, that doesn't mean
Based
that
on
we're
the
not fully
evidence.
Muslim,
If
though.
you're saying that's
No.
what makes you
A Muslim.
a complete Muslim.
It's one
But
of
we're
the pillars.
digressing. The
All right,
point-
cool.
the pillar of Islam.
So that's the 5. I just want to know your knowledge.
We're
secondly-
getting stuck
secondly-
on this
secondly-
Islam, and we're telling you we're not Muslim.
All right,
So
all
we
right.
need to
By
move
that
from
meaning-
that.
No,
of
but
the
the
religion.
thing is,
Yeah.
you're saying that you were Muslim. Yeah?
Yeah.
You're saying you were Muslim, but
We-
I'm saying
we were-
you weren't.
we
I'm
were-
saying you weren't.
Okay, and I'm saying to
Yeah.
you, if you go back, and watch
The
our videos,
videos, you
see how
see-
we were dressed,
Yeah.
see how all the things. Wait, you know why it's funny to us? Because when we were Muslims, that's
People
what
say
the
it was- we weren't
Orthodox Sunni Muslim were trying to say, that we are not the true Muslim. We're
But
not
they were
Muslim.
right.
They weren't right.
They weren't.
Because you know why?
You didn't
See,
take your Shahada.
you're not letting me finish. We
Sorry, carry on.
did. We did take our Shahada. We
But
actually.
you made up words in the
Are you not going to
Shahada.
let me speak? Like,
Carry on,
I'm
sorry,
saying,
sorry.
we practiced all those 5 pillars as we were going through the school of Islam. We lived it. We dressed according to how the Quran says Muslims should dress, in all white. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No, it's not said there.
Brother, let me finish. Let me finish.
I think
What's the all white?
I could find quotes in Arabic.
Listen, man, we can give.
Yeah, I can say that.
Okay, you know the
I went through one.
You're not letting me
Muslim
finish. I'm saying
It's not compulsory though.
Okay, according to your definition of what a Muslim is, by those 5 pillars you mentioned, yeah, we were doing that.
Okay.
And we were doing, how many prayers is a Muslim supposed to do?
5.
See, there's 7.
All right. This
So when I say we were
5
practicing it,
obligatory.
yeah, there's 5, but there's 2 extra ones if you want to.
Yeah, no, there's
wait,
more. There's
right.
Nafil and your Sunnah prayers as well.
Okay, so
And there's more than this. More than
so
5.
when I said the
and
claim
so
that we were the best of Muslims,
we did those
at
according
that
to-
time, according to the Quran.
No,
That's
according
what-
to you.
No,
Because
because
the best
you can't
Muslim would
say-
never say, I'm the best Muslim ever.
I said the
humility.
best of Muslims because it tells you. I can give you quotes where it tells you in the Quran the best.
That
of
you're
Muslims.
the best Muslim.
No, it didn't. Okay. If you don't let us,
See what I'm saying?
we are not okay. You're
Just say
this
you're
one,
practicing. Just say you're practicing.
my brother. Stop trying to put words in my mouth. I can speak
Because you
for
can't be the
myself.
best Muslim.
I did listen to what I said again. Yeah.
Okay.
We're not practicing. We don't practice. We live our culture.
Yeah, you're judging us based on
You're
your
trying to
thing.
judge us
We're-
based
we're
on
not on that.
Muslims, and we're telling
went
you
through
that
school.
we went through that school, studied it, lived it, mastered it, and the Orthodox Sunni Muslim didn't even want to accept us that we were Muslims. And then when we gave it up and we were like, you know what? Our culture predates Islam.
Exactly.
Yeah. In fact, most of what you got from Islam comes from ancient Egyptian teachings.
But
the
where's
prayer
your proof
system.
that you're Egyptian?
What?
Where's your proof
Really?
that you
Really?
Oh,
wait,
Before we go into
wait,
that,
wait,
you know,
wait,
they love that.
Don't.
I'm saying the Wu-Sabat.
There's one more thing I wanted to say.
Right,
There's
all right,
one more thing I want to say, please, yeah, please.
We never finished our point.
Please, I'm sorry.
Go
Yeah,
on.
because I'm trying to understand.
Sorry, you know what? I want to do it because he's just done that, right? See this whole thing about Ishmael and Isaac, yeah? This is what happened, that the Ishmaelites, or those beings that went into what he's calling Egypt today, they got overtaken by the desert Arabs, they're known as the Red Arabs, and this is why today he's saying, what's your proof you're Egyptians? Because they've supplanted themselves in ancient Egypt and they're acting like they're the original Egyptians. When
But what I'm saying
the
is-
walls of Egypt have pictures, which you were
The monuments.
talking about, the monuments, there's so much evidence.
I know,
Right.
I agree.
So-
But
You
what
need
I'm
to
saying-
tell him.
but what-
You
no,
need to
no,
tell him.
no, but
You need to
for
tell
me,
him
for me,
that.
wait, sorry, bro.
And there's
My point-
DNA evidence,
I think
right?
my
I'm
point-
saying,
Sorry, one
I
second,
need to
one
defend
second.
myself.
No,
You
you
will,
don't.
you will.
You don't.
Because
You're
I'm
good,
saying,
you're good.
where's the Wu-Sabat? How is Egyptian civilization?
But we're going to digress away from my point.
You don't even know what Wu-Sabat
I
is.
just want to understand something.
Go ahead.
Before, because my thing is whether we are descendants of the Egyptians or not is irrelevant for me. For me, it's
for you.
irrelevant.
Alright.
It's irrelevant because if you were truly Muslim, right, and
We're Muslim
if-
according to the
yeah.
definition of ones of peace.
cool.
Today, now.
According to, but that means that you have to take what is said in the Quran as the truth,
No, it
right?
doesn't. Not if it's been mistampered and messed up with. That's what we're trying to
So watch this now. So watch this now.
It's
So watch
been
this now.
tampered and messed
So watch
about.
this now. So watch this now. Yeah, the Egyptian. The reason why I don't believe that, regardless, like I've been told that I'm a descendant of the Hebrews, I'm descendant of the Egyptians, all of that sort of stuff. Cool, fine.
All right.
But what does that matter? What does that matter?
Yeah.
If the way that we are told to live in the Quran isn't in cohesion or in line with how we are told to live, that basically is in opposition to how the Egyptians used to live, because they deified themselves, they had people worshipping them, they used to, do you understand? That goes against what Islam is about. Islam's about monotheism. Now, secondly, my point what I want to get back to, because I asked you about the 5 pillars. Do you know what the 6 pillars of Iman are?
Okay. I don't know the 6 pillar.
Okay.
But-
in order for you to be Muslim, you need to adhere to, and most Muslims, that people that say they're Muslim don't know what their 6 pillars of Iman are.
What I'm saying is we're wasting time because we already told you we're not Muslims. That
No, but you
according
said
to that
no, but
definition of
all right. You
Islam.
might not be now.
Yeah,
but you said
we
you
started.
were.
Yeah,
but you said you were,
at
and you
that
said
time,
you mastered it.
No,
you said you mastered
I'm
it.
saying, listen to what I'm saying.
I don't believe they weren't, because they didn't fulfill the full Shahada, and they also, when I asked, they didn't know what the 6 pillars of Iman are. which you have to know as a Muslim. Even a lot of Muslims don't know what the 6 pillars of Iman are. So based upon that, and as well, the brothers have said that they've gone through, Islam like it's almost as a school. It's not a school, it's something, it's a way of life. This is why we even attribute the previous generations, like the children of Israel, they were the Muslims of that time because they were those who submitted to the will of Allah. They submitted to the will of God. So I don't believe because they didn't take their full Shahada that they were Muslim. And because if you leave the deen, then Allah says He will replace you with another people, and that's probably what's happened. You can't go from being Muslim to something else. It doesn't work like that. You can stay Muslim and seek guidance and seek higher knowledge, but you don't leave the religion. And based upon the foundation of what they've told me of how they took their Shahada, they're not Muslim. That they weren't Muslim. Yeah.
When I say we mastered it, I'm not talking about individual people. I can't make the claim that I mastered it, but I'm saying we had an Imam that he's actually translated the whole Quran, right? That's the level of, what I'm saying is stewardship or whatever title you want to go to, yeah? As an Imam, he led a congregation. We did everything according to the words of Allah in the Quran. And that's why if you go on YouTube today, watch his videos, watch us when we were in that school, right? But today, we're saying to you, and this is what I'm saying about the language, Musalam, ones of peace. We do live according to the peaceful rites, because it even tells you that if you're in doubt in the Quran, yeah, go back to that which came before, which would be Abrahamic religions, because they came before Islam.
Right. So
right?
this is the.
Let me just land my point. Yeah.
Carry on. Sorry.
So if you know it was Milla Ibrahim, yeah, which is dealing with the rights of Abraham, not the hadiths that most people are following today, claiming that these hadiths are the successors of Muhammad and they knew this and they knew that, and they get together and agree on what they say the Quran said, which is separate from what the Quran actually says. Sunni, they try to say they're following Sunnah, which is the way Muhammad.
That's not hadith, by the way.
I'm saying that just because you claim and say Sunni means you're following the Sunnah doesn't mean that's true, because you can look at lots of different Muslims. They dress differently. They do things differently. They don't all agree. Yeah. So they're not even peaceful if we go to the terrorism and all the things that the Muslim world that are following this new way that is not of peace have been doing to the world. So when you say what makes you a Muslim, what makes you a Muslim is that you are a peaceful person, one of peace, the peacemaker. And so that's what we are.
Okay, so that's according to
us.
According to you, according to you.
Click here now to watch the full unedited version. Comment below some actual facts from Dr. Malachi Z York and share this video with at least 9 people.